out here strong. Otherwise, I don't know, maybe KT were the overdogs all along.
I will say, the fact that Gen.G had side selection in Game 1 and KT got that Game 1 win, you know, if this does go to 5 games, I think KT getting that first game win, definitely a massive advantage. Kind of, you know, the tennis sense, breaking the serve. We like that one. Our tennis enthusiast. Unfortunately, she isn't here today.
Yeah, I wish I could be a tennis enthusiast.
Yeah.
Fortunately.
Maybe one day.
I am taking care of my very young son. But soon. Soon.
So getting the bans seemingly similar from Gen.G. The Rise hasn't come through yet, though. In terms of what was taken away, I think two of the big picks we often see banned in the Pantheon Yunara. I think that's what we're talking about. They're obviously not going to need to be banned for the rest of the series. There were some picks that obviously are high priority, like the Orianna, like the Annie, Alistair, Aurora. But I feel like there's not that much taken away that are like these tier 1 power picks other than that Pantheon Yunara. So we get the Rise left open and the Ornn taken away. I do think the sort of Weather the Storm strategy from KT for Perfect was working pretty well, and it feels like they're trying to push Perfect off that. We often see Ornn into Rumble, and obviously the Rumble ban we saw last time, we're seeing it here again. But limiting the tank options for Perfect. And, you know, we've kind of praised BNK4X, put Vikla on a lot of utility picks in the mid lane. And if that was their strategy for Perfect, it looks like it's being cut short now. It does look like Gen.G just going to go for that Rise that they were banning away. We'll prioritize that. Obviously a great pick for both Chovy and BDD. And looking to secure that one first and foremost. I feel like here you could just go for a jungle snap up for Cuz. Xin Zhao is available.
Yeah.
The fact that Wukong, Jarvan, Pantheon gone, you could take that. Vi is also a decent option.
He did all that on last pick Jarvan as well. Blind's Trundle.
It was his most played in round 3 to 5.
Yeah.
So he's opting to prioritize that. Very early Trundle pick, and we haven't been super fond of the early Trundle. It's also something where you can expect Canyon to take we've seen him play like Zed into it. Now, did his Game 1 performance inspire you to where you want to see him playing Zed? Maybe not, but we've seen Canyon be unfazed. We've seen him off on it before. And the Cassiopeia comes in for BDD. So very much a lot of slows, a lot of control. The short range of the Rise will struggle into that. But I do feel like a pick. I mean, I feel like Zed kind of outplay a lot of the tools that KT have so far. If Canyon wanted to go towards this. It looks like for now, though, they're going for the Lucian. Very short-ranged.
Yeah.
Into
Lucian Brawl.
What KT has already. You know, when I look at what KT has, I think, well, that's very effective against short-ranged compositions, but very limited into longer-range comps. You're committing to a short-range composition, so...
I mean, Lucian Braum is very strong.
Definitely.
As a duo.
And we see the Rakan being hovered there by KT, but it looks like instead of securing a support, they want to prioritize getting that Corki, which... Oh... No, they'll go for the Rakan. So when I secure the support matchup, I feel like Corki's probably going to get banned. It is the most played for both Duckdam and Ruler in round 3 to 5. So I feel like whoever takes it first, it's a great pickup and a great denial. I imagine Gen.G will probably want to ban it here to potentially save it for Ruler, but also just to stop Duckdam from getting it. It obviously is a strong lane as well, which when I'm looking at the Lucian Braum, definitely denying that strong lane power would be important. I think maybe like Corki Xayah would be good bans from Gen.G.
Yeah, it seems very likely. I'd say in this case, Corki's great. Xayah's good here into the short range, and with Rakan, there is some consideration, but it is going to be Corki man first.
Yeah, I just think with the short range of this comp, if you're playing into Xayah as well, it'd be such a thing. The Kiana ban comes through. Obviously something we did see, not to the greatest effect. I still think it could, in theory, be the Zed. That being said, not a guarantee for it to come out. It is, Canyon has played it into the Trundle specifically. Xin Zhao would be a bit uncomfortable to be played into this. It's just a hard one. It is going to be that Corky's Eye. I think those are good bans. Another question really comes down to what will Dokkan play in this situation?
Jin. Just keep him at range. Don't get close.
Yeah, it doesn't feel amazing playing Jin into Braum because obviously he can block so much damage because, you know, you put that shield up, you block a 4th shot, it really limits you. But I think with what is available, it makes a lot more sense than... I think Sivir could be a bit of an uncomfortable lane if you get challenged, and obviously short range yourself. I think Jin probably makes sense here. Now for the top lane pick, you know, he's going to go for the Xin Zhao here. So Xin Zhao into Trundle, into Cassiopeia. You obviously can make it work. We all think back to that fantastic Owner clip where he popped off. That was into Cassiopeia. So they are just going to go for the Xin Zhao and the Gwen. So committing to a short range composition.
Keen was shaking his head. Did not look very happy. And it is blind Gwen, but...
I think it's Ambessa, yeah.
Yeah.
Ambessa was already a good matchup into Gwen, and then he nerfed her armor. So I think you go into this with a lot of confidence.
And they needed a bit of extra damage, I would say. You know, the Jin having problems with the Braum, the Cassiopeia only, I feel like being very... You know, there's only certain times where she can actually deal damage.
Yeah. I mean, I think as much as KT's comp has a lot of tools that make it difficult for short-ranged champions, I do think that, like, Gen.G have this kind of just brawl comp where you can just put Braum passive on a target and hit him and kill him. And it can sometimes be very difficult to handle. Particularly Gwen and Xin Zhao, you know, the double circles. When you're playing Jin Cassiopeia, it can kind of be a nightmare. So, you know, even though I was saying that maybe the short range comp would be uncomfortable into what KT have, I feel like skirmish is going to be hard for the side of KT. And especially, I don't think you have as much strength as you'd maybe hope for. We talked about the mid jungle being so strong for KT. Cassiopeia just doesn't bring that much to early fights because of a limited mana pool. And Trundle can be a big threat, but when you're against a Braum, I'm a little worried for KT in this game too. If they get to the later stages, I could definitely see this comp come online, but I think early levels might have a bit of a tough time.
Going to be interesting to see if Gen.G can up the tempo here in this game number 2. They really need to get back on the horse. Let's see if they can as we hop on the rift for game number 2. All right, let's jump onto the rift here for the second game of this series. Pretty surprising that Gen.G lost a single game, even though we did have a lot of 3-1 predictors. I think it's just, you know, on paper, if nothing had happened prior to this, Gen.G should be the heavy favorite, so 3-0 isn't out of the question. But the amount of momentum that KT came in with, and the fact that they started game 1 so quickly with the lead, meant that they were able to easily snowball and catch Gen.G off guard.
Yep, does make you think of the fact that Gen.G have had pretty constant play throughout the... Oh, maybe seeing something here?
This is a Braum, guys. Gen.G are like, okay, if you want to fight at level 1, we can. I am down. We are down. The collective.
Some good poison applying there for my BDD. But yeah, what I was saying is the schedule for the year, with how many internationals have been, with the fact that Gen.G have been at all of them, it's been pretty non-stop. And they've been playing pretty constantly. And it is, you know, one thought I had is potentially the fact that they have had a pretty long break since the end of round 5. Maybe a factor coming in a little bit cold to the game 1, potentially. So we'll see if maybe they're a bit more warmed up now. I'm getting a great trade in Aduro. Just puts a 4th shot into him.
Yeah.
And you know, the level 1 threat off the Jin combined with the Rakan being unfazed by the Braum. Obviously, level 2 for the Lucian Braum gets a lot more strength.
Yeah, for now, just skirting by, just trying their best. Duro, nice collection there on that 1 minion. Let's take a look at the runes. Doesn't seem like anything is too out of order this time around. Talked about the PTA for the Smoldering game 1.
15-1.
He has played a lot of Gwen. Gwen has been meta for a lot of this year.
Yeah.
So, and Gen.G do win quite a lot. VDD does have a game of Cassiopeia under his belt. It was a loss, though.
Oh, Perfect missing some of the... Oh, but doing a lot of damage there. And this is the thing, it is now nerfed Gwen. And the 2 major nerfs, she got nerfed to her armor, which particularly into the Ambessa is going to feel painful.
Duckdom probably going to get stunned up here. A lot of damage going into him. Peter trying to frontline as well as he possibly can. Battle Dance is back. But already level 2 hit. And Ruler and Duro upping the tempo.
Surprised you didn't get a heal out there. Normally we just... Supports just throw heal immediately in, like the tempo heal. Now the support using it there. Oh, the full... Oh, the blow! Oh!
GG. Here comes Ruler, gonna force that barrier out. The flash on him from Duro. Engage Braum, gonna trade flashes with the Jhin. That's a huge win here for the Gen.G bot lane.
This is one of the things with playing Rakan into an aggressive mobile lane.
Duckdom just gonna get flashed on, not respecting this. The knockup does come in, but barrier is there for Ruler. It's first blood already for Ruler and Duro.
Yeah, Peter's just playing too far up. And one of the things with playing Rakan into like an aggressive mobile opponent is your grand entrance is so telegraphed, it's so slow. You know, if you're playing Lucian, especially if you have Flash, it's so easy to move past it. It's very hard to defensively peel in the early levels before you have your ult available. And Peter was also just so far ahead off his AD carry there. Wasn't even in range to Battle Dance. You're not playing with Isaiah. You can't E from the other side of the screen. So a little bit over-aggressive there from the support of KT. And they do end up falling down in the 2v2, which is a big hit. Pickaxe now picked up for Ruler. They go for the swap on the top side. And that lane matchup where we saw Perfect actually getting a bit of an advantage is going to be cut short.
Yeah, definitely a bit of an issue. Very nice timing here for the swap. Taking a long look at mid as Chovy, his job is to sit here and get poisoned. Clear waves. VDD's job is to poison, make sure he doesn't miss much of the CS.
Nice dodges there.
Yeah. Sometimes dodge the burst from the rise.
Wait, Perfect hasn't... Oh, this is so... Look at the lane state.
Uh-oh.
And Perfect hasn't reset. He has no items.
He's getting poked out a bit here as well. At least he's not getting zoned off of XP, not yet. But the crash comes in, and you can see that Ruler and Duro are attempting to do that now. So they're getting right in front of him.
The thing is as well, because he has no items, he's just a lot more vulnerable to the threat. Because if he had board, maybe he can fight them off a little bit better. He's in such a bad spot, and he's not getting any help out of this situation.
And Cuz's response is to go immediately to the Dragon Pit. They were able to stack up the Dragons very quickly in game number 1. And so that just means that Perfect gets no help. Meanwhile, Keen is going in here onto Duckdom, who doesn't have any sums. And a nice sidestep there. The Needles level 6 hit here for Keen, doing a ton of damage into Duckdom already and actually winning the 1v2.
Here's the difference, you know, it's the Lucian Braum is a lot stronger early. The Lucian has that pickaxe. Keen was able to get XP to get level 6. You know, he TP'd in. He's already bought. He had the Amp Tome and the Dark Seal, so he's actually able to force them away from the wave. It's just so much better for Keen. And they're too scared to even look for a gank now with the low HP. So Keen is getting so much benefit from this situation. And Perfect was really struggling. And now, I mean, I don't think you can dive this.
All right, well, they're going to try. Keen goes in. He's very confidently going to take this 1v3 underneath the turret as Cuz has to flash away. Keen, you can see that deadly flourish. And now we got the Realm Orb coming in. Chovy wants a bit more, and I think Duckdom is just dead here as nobody is here to help. And he doesn't have any sums.
If he just stays there, maybe they'll forget.
Maybe he'll just disappear like he's Teemo in a brush or something.
Yeah, I mean, it was
just dead.
Great play from Keen. The flash there was perfect to avoid the CC from Peter. And then Chovy comes down to clean up. And again, Perfect is being zoned away from this wave. This is just Gen.G playing this masterfully. So Keen, they have the Ignite here, which is big from Peter to try and help the dive. But again, Rakan's so telegraphed, so easy to flash the Grand Entrance. And that's the only hard CC, I mean, other than the root from Duckdom, which doesn't end up connecting either. And then they all have to just run away from the play. I'm not sure why he barriered. I think he was looking for the kill on a Keen. I guess he was looking for the kill on the Keen.
Yeah.
But using the summoner, not ideal. And now you're pretty substantially behind. They've swapped back to face up into Ruler and Duro, but I think the damage has already kind of been done with how that swap played out.
Yeah.
You look at the difference between the experience Keen had and the experience Perfect had, and I think it's obviously played out way better for the side of Gen.G there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with a comp like this, where you're going to look to brawl, any amount of lead in levels in gold is going to be so valuable. And so getting this early lead is going to be huge for them. Very different from the way that game 1 played out, where you were expecting them to get early lane leads, but everything fell apart very early. And so they really got no tempo going for themselves. Gen.G go back to the drawing board and look a lot better in this early game.
Now I'm a little concerned for Perfect, because if you're not coming out ahead in this matchup, your team's in for a bad time. Bot lane is getting punished heavily. Oh no, Peter. I mean, he still loses so much health. He gets stunned on the back end, and now ult is there for Ruler, so...
Calling available, here it is. Duckdom has to heal from Peter to get away from it, as now the counter engage is coming in, as everybody trying to join on up, but you see the stun comes in, the concussive blows on a Peter, he's super low. Ruler is just kiting away from Cuz, as the subjugation doesn't do quite enough.
They're winning a 2v3. You know, they're not able to get the kills, but they're able to force them off, and it just kind of shows how things are really falling apart.
Yes.
Okay, Ruler missed a cannon.
Falling apart.
You know, how things are falling apart in this bot lane matchup. And I think the Jin Rakan just not really having the power into the Lucian Brawl early. And Perfect, he's getting manhandled by Keen now in this matchup.
And mid is even, but it's Chovy on Rise, so he's doing a good job of farming as he does. He's Chovying a little bit. Not super far ahead. That just means that every lane is ahead.
Yeah.
So
it's a comfortable position to be in for Gen.G. And I don't think this game is going to be impossible later on for KT. You know, we talked about how they have tools to punish the short-range composition, but I think Gen.G have such just a brute force comp where you run at them, you apply the Braum passive, just kill target one by one. Everyone apart from the Rise is so great at stacking that Braum passive, and the Rise has that point-and-click route to help set up his team. So it's a little concerning with how things are playing out so far.
Yeah. Cuz got the first Drake, but I don't foresee them having any chance to fight for the second Drake. A nice little trade here from Duckdom, so maybe, but probably not. Especially with Zero back and Cannon hanging around the area. They don't want to get stacked on like they did in game number 1.
I think they just need more time. You know, BDD's not in that position. Oh.
Yeah, going in for the engage, and you see Peter, there's nothing really he can do to help out.
The thing is, Dura just holds the wall up, and there's just nothing Duckdom can do to return the trade. And then by the time the wall's over, the trade's over.
Yeah.
So,
Lucian Braum.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
That's how it goes. And the thing is, what makes it worse is that Jin specifically wants to do short trades. You know, you're not one of these picks that wants to take the extended trade and be like, hey, you know, if you're playing something like a Zeri and they did that, you just ult and you just continue the extended trade after the bomb shield's down. But Jin cannot do that.
All right, so KT really want to fight for the Drake.
They want to. I'm not sure it's the best decision, though.
Looks like even Perfect's backing for the TP. They get the engage here onto one. It looks like Jovi's in a bit of trouble. Has to flash away from this, but the Root comes in, and they select the kill on a Jovi. And now they're looking for more. Canyon a little bit isolated, but he is down, but Perfect accesses the back line. Canyon super low himself, but the culling and the needles are pretty good. VDD does a ton of damage to Ruler on the backside of this fight. And now Duro is alone. Keen trying his best to get in there and get a kill. Gets the triple, but immediately gets chomped instead as Cuz takes him down, gets another one on a Duro, and KT win the fight.
Huge team fight there. The pick on the Chovy was phenomenal. And honestly, was so close to being a clean ace. Ruler just escaping with slivers of HP. I wasn't confident they could find the fight, but Peter finds Chovy, walks into a brush, gets the knock-up. The charm follows on the grounding, and then he flashes out. And this route from Duckdom, perfect to follow. Canyon goes in with the ult. And then here, He waits the time, gets this final shot in the canyon, he cleans him up, and then the bouncing grenade also hits Ruler there. Look how low he is, the poison nearly kills him, but the Triumph heals. And then here, Keen is such a threat. He is already such a problem. And it kind of looked like he was going to clean up, but he does kind of run out of cooldowns. Dr. and Cuz doing so much work here. And, you know, I had a lot of concerns. They managed to find that one, but we're going to have another fight, it seems, over this dragon.
Perfect's going to get here first, and I think with that roam coming down, Gen.G have to respect that, rather.
Yeah, I think they just give it up.
Yeah, not going to be able to respond. As will be Chemtech again is the only question. No, it's Infernal Soul, and KT have double dragon in this game.
Yeah, so KT really bouncing back in this one. You got to be a little careful. Keen going to get some plates here. So the dragon is obviously nice, but a second dragon only means something if you convert it into more. And in return, I mean, Keen got all those kills. He picked up a plate there. I am worried about this Gwen, is the point I'm trying to make. This Gwen is extremely scary already. But KT, considering they had a rough early start, they've done a lot to bounce back into this game.
Yeah, they definitely have. I mean, I was looking at this early game and saying, I don't know if KT have a real answer, but getting the catch on a 1, it does look like Gen.G are kind of sleepy as the needles are coming out. Nice little speed boost from the center. It looks like perfect, able to get away.
It's nice dodges, but it also just shows the stake. This is when Ambessa should feel super strong. You have the Eclipse. This is the spike we talk about. You pick that up, you're supposed to be gaming, not playing Dance Dance Revolution trying to dodge away from the Gwen ult. We do see Duro trying to move over there.
Yeah. Little Braum gank. Just hanging around. Not amounting to anything. But yeah, I mean, KT got a lot of gold on Cuz. So it's a fed Trundle, and Cuz has been making crazy things happen.
They also got a decent amount
long
on Doctam as well, which I think is good to see. Because he was pretty behind in the lane matchup. You know, he's only 400 gold down on Ruler, considering he's like 25 CS down. That's pretty nice. And I think we're kind of seeing, you know, some of the tools from KT coming out big, like the Rise being punished by the Cassiopeia. It's also the fact that KT have more engaged tools compared to Gen.G. Gen.G is hit the Braum Q and just run them down. But in terms of raw actual lock someone down, they don't have like a Rakan. They don't have a public execution on an Ambessa.
Yeah.
Oh, this is spooky.
Hiding on bush. As here we go, they're trying to run them down, but Miasma and Pillar say no.
Yeah, hard to find those consistent engages onto KT. It is just a run at them team comp.
Yeah, it's much easier if you're ahead and you can set up on an objective. And KT kind of have to engage in you.
That's why it's big when they had the lead, because you force them to come into you. The other way around, it's a little tentative, but Gen.G are set up on the objective. This is also great for Xin Zhao, because you can stack up your Q on the neutral and just immediately get a knock-up. So you go like, get the first 2 autos, then E into knock-up and just try and one-shot Peter.
Yeah.
Who is close to that range already.
He really wants to engage, it looks like, but I don't think they've got a real angle here, so Gen.G gonna do a good job of accelerating their lead with this objective take.
Nice pickup there, did force them away. Some good poke. You don't really think of Xin Zhao as a poke champion, but apparently he is. Onto the Rakan.
Yeah, health set of the Rakan is level 7, and not very tanky at this point in time.
Is a contributing factor. They do have the redemption to sustain up if they really need it, but didn't come through there.
That was very satisfying. You see Duckdom hit those 2 minions in the front. Just keeping up as best as he possibly can.
Yeah, there is farm leads pretty universally across the lanes. It's only Cuz who has a CS lead in the jungle on this Trundle. And Trundle not really a pick that scales that fantastically with farm.
Perfect. Certainly threatening this one, but the public execution is going to miss, and now he has to flash away. Will he even live? No, gets snipped in the butt, and that's going to be the end of him. Keen picks up the solo kill.
That is not a good luck for KT. Cuz is there now.
You know, I think he might be able to... Nope, not with Canyon here.
He just takes a chomp out of him. That's all he's going to do, and then he'll pick up the farm. But if Perfect's bleeding out in the side lane, giving more and more...
Uh-oh, and the culling is here as well. Duckdom barely able to get out. And just barely living is not a good feeling as, oh, he just steps up again, trying to take the trade into Ruler, baits him in. The barrier is there. We got redemption now. That's Canyon. Oh, so close, trying to get in front, but misses.
He bent the bullet around Canyon.
Yeah.
Man, that was so close. The barrier and the redemption coming through to save Ruler.
It's a nice try from Duckdom, honestly. It was very ints, to be honest.
It was actually kind of a sick bait with the barrier himself.
Yeah, it was good.
That was hype, if I'm going to be real. Here, though, Perfect stepping up to Keen, ends up missing the public execution. Nice sidestep from Keen, and then able to get that last charge of the ultimate that does so much damage there. Now set up for Dragon again. This will be third for KT. They are at a disadvantage in this position. Both AD carries, no summoners. And I think Gen.G absolutely want to secure that. They have foothold on the objective. Perfect's not even there yet.
Yeah.
And Duckdom's dealing with mid-waves. I think this is just given up.
Peter doesn't have anything. I mean, he doesn't have flash, he doesn't have quickness. Like, they don't have reliable engage, especially Perfect not there. So it's just like, well, I guess you just give this one away. Gen.G continue with their snowball.
I think it's the right call. Just give feats of strength over to Gen.G. But I just don't think you're in a position to fight that one. Oh, that is a Braum TP.
Yeah. Cuz is here. Hear a lot of shouting behind me as they want to set something up. Duro in a very awkward spot. Has the flash and might be able to get over this wall, but the quickness is there. Jumps on his teammate, and it just means that Duckdom gets the kill instead. And he will accept that with open arms.
It's a nice snipe, but the TP came down from Perfect, and it kind of makes you feel it wasn't warranted, the TP from Perfect, because it just gives up the top tower. It just give over that resource. I think the play was good, don't get me wrong, but I think the extra resource of that TP, we kind of saw this in the previous game as well. There was a point where they TP'd and it just wasn't really needed. I think they could have made that play without the extra teleport.
Yeah.
I guess it's one of those things where you go for it because you want to make sure 100% we're winning this play. But the end result is you just end up trading back a little bit, and it's more gold for Keen. 1,300 ahead. You look at the team gold lead, it's 1,600. And obviously there's back and forth between some of them, right? But Keen himself is 1,300. He's about to hit second item. This Gwen is so scary.
Yeah.
And Chovy's just hit second item. They're going to be stacking up. He's already got his Archangels here. Yeah, this was a weird one. I guess the TP did just mean Gen.G weren't able to fight and they were forced away. And that's why they can just aggressively posture. But it just, I don't know. I feel like maybe they could have just punished Duro and saved the TP until more people committed. Because it just ends up them being a trade of one kill for TP and the tower, right?
Yeah, I mean, at least Duckdom got the kill and not like Peter or something. We got, oh, Chovy in a very rough spot, gonna be stunned down, and now Cuz is here. Chovy, nowhere for him to go, just accepts his fate, doesn't even flash, and just dies right before the Otacon take. It looks like KT gonna go for this one.
They have so much DPS for it.
Oh, and they're gonna turn as well. The charm comes in and Ruler's just dead for free. Gen.G is asleep at the wheel, and KT are getting so much now.
Both carries just deleted their huge pickups from KT. You're seeing why the Cassiopeia is prioed into Rise when you're locked in those animations. So easy to get an ult off. BDD finds it, the punish is there, then Ruler just caught taking a wander through the jungle. Goes down, Otacon for KT. Herald is thrown down in a bizarre position where it's just going to get deleted. They will get mid-tower for this, though.
Yeah, looks like a Perfect trying his best to clear the wave. We got Cuz coming over. Keen's half health. I mean, Exhaust's going to come in, but the perfect execution to get away from a lot of the damage as needles are coming in. But Keen is kind of all alone here. Yes, he has Duro. And, okay, the stun is going to come in. It looks like Keen should be able to back away, especially with Canyon there.
He is just the main character right now for Gen.G. He is so scary. They don't let him get another tower or anything, but yeah, so we see here, Chovy just steps up to BDD, and you see when he turns to cast, that's when you go for the ultimate, finds the stun, and then Chovy would have looked for a Realm Warp, but you save the pillar from Cuz so you can get the little knock-up to stop it.
Yeah.
And then Ruler just walks in here. Yeah, that was a play.
Yeah. The Chovy play, it's like, okay, you know, maybe you shouldn't have stepped up to Cassiopeia. You don't have vision. Fine. That's a mistake. The Ruler play, unacceptable.
Yeah.
That should not have happened.
Yeah, and I have to remind you, it's 1-0 to KT in this series.
Yeah.
You know, we were saying after game 1, oh, it looks like it's not going to be a 3-0.
Still potential for a 3-0.
There's still potential for a 3-0, just not what anyone would have expected.
Yeah, we don't have a series on our hands yet. I'm not seeing it. I'm looking. I don't see anything. So
yeah,
KT could absolutely 3-0.
That would be insane. That would honestly be insane. Right now, though, it's still very close, right? It's a gold lead for Gen.G. KT do have a Dragon advantage. They do have the Arakan. The petals are still close. Obviously, the higher value when you have the Arakan, but it's still a very close game. But I think the thing is, right, Keen is very strong, but we're seeing some of the shortcomings of this short-range composition into the Cassiopeia, into the Trundle. And it really comes down to controlling Keen in these team fights. The miasma value is massive.
Yeah.
If it can be used to lock down the Gwen, he's going to struggle. And you just don't have that reliable engage in your composition.
Peter's going in. Didn't have vision in the brush, but knew they were there.
Just testing the limits a little bit. Once again, Gen.G really focused on getting control of the area early, forcing KT to come into them.
Yeah. 7 seconds until the Drake, so... I mean, look at the setup, though. We got Jin traps, we got miasma. Like, how do you approach through this as all this short range on the side of Gen.G? And KT know this. I mean, they're just taking it very slow and keeping them at arm's length.
That's the problem, though, is that Gen.G have position on the Dragon, so now KT have to approach, and those tools aren't as useful when you're pushing in.
Yeah. Looks like they will push in now, Cuz in position to get the smite. He was able to steal at 1 health, as now Peter extremely low, and Cuz getting pretty low himself. The redemption comes in, Cuz he wants it, but he's not gonna get it. The smite early, oh, the stun comes in from VODs, it's gigantic, and now Perfect's on that back line. Ruler doing a great job of kiting out though, and Keen trying to go 1v3, he's got Toby with him now. And he's going in doing a ton of damage, as the turret in the back line is doing work from the side of Duck Dom. Keen and Chovy do get pushed away, but Gen.G, they get a second Infernal Drake under their belt.
I think Gen.G can be happy. They got the Dragon and they didn't lose that team fight too hard because, man, KT started that fight so favorably. With the ult that came through from BDD, with the ult from Perfect, the solo lane is connecting onto the right targets, but weren't able to find more here. We see this petrifying gaze that came through from BDD. It's a slow start. The miasma's traded for the ult for the Shroud from Gwen, and then here, BDD triple. Then the public execution on a Ruler. But if you look on the backline, Keen gets some of the carries, and he's causing so much disruption.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very tight miasma that doesn't offer much. He's also, the Shroud is back up, so it means the Jin ult doesn't do much. And in the end, it's only 2 for 1 in terms of kills for KT. And the fact that Gen.G got the Dragon, they're happy with how things panned out. I think you get such a good petrifying gaze from KT, you get the follow-up with the public execution, and you still end up, I feel like, losing out overall with the outcome of the fight. It's got to feel a little bit rough for KT.
Yeah, it's definitely not a good feel. I think, you know, at the same time, though, you can look at that fight and say, as KT, we have the tools. Like, we have the ability. Sure. If we just continue to play out these fights well, we can take them confidently and we can win this game.
Yeah, and it's not all doom and gloom, right? That fight didn't go like badly. They still came out ahead in kills. It's just a little, unfortunately, we didn't able to get the Dragon. I think it highlights the importance of being there first on these objectives. Gen.G are doing the homework, getting there first and foremost, and it's making it more difficult for KT as a result. The Dragon was already taken before the fact. And now, once again, Gen.G setting up early, getting there first, and getting position on this Baron. And that Baron is pretty fast if they can get this Gwen to hit it.
Yeah. Looks like KT are on the chase, though. Just shooing them away from the river, essentially. Pushing in as a team enables them to get vision and get position, which is what you've been talking about a lot here. And even grouping up in mid, not going to be able to hit this turret. But yeah, Keen, I think he knows his job. Just side lane, put on pressure, and be a raid boss.
Side lane, put on pressure, carry the team fights, threaten the back line, sidestep every ability.
Yeah.
Do all the damage.
Nobody else does damage. You're the only one.
Be immune.
It's like every solo queue top laner believes that. And I think that Keen kind of does have to do that. I really like the build timing here for BDD. He's hit his 3.5 items, obviously no boots, but he has the heal denial, which is going to last a long time, even without, you know, like a Rylai's or a Torch, or not Rylai's, Leandri's, or a Torch.
Any dot champ gets so much value from a flipping orb. It's amplified more if you have like a damage of time item, but it's still really good. We have it on Peter as well.
Duro is Braum.
Rakan not as good at applying it. I guess the thought process is when you go in with your quickness, you apply to everyone, but it's shown that KT very aware of how much sustain there is between like Sundered Sky, between Redemption, the Gwen healing. They know that cutting down this healing is going to be a major factor in this game. We do have IE coming in for a ruler, so a pretty big spike there on this Lucian.
Yeah. The Lucian, if he gets in range and he has enough time and is not under threat, is going to be chunking pretty much everybody.
I mean, that's something in this game. There's just so much farm on Chovy and Ruler. Like, you think of Keen being the main character, and he does have the biggest lead, but he has 70 less CS compared to Chovy. He has 70 less CS compared to Ruler. Like, Gen.G are putting their resources on their carries, so even though Keen has been this main character who's so hard to deal with, their carries are still very strong. They both have 3 items, more items than Keen. So they do need to, and you know, I made the jokes earlier about Keen have to do everything. You cannot disrespect the carries on Gen.G.
Absolutely not. Also kind of highlights, you know, that Perfect is not exactly in the best spot. Peter goes in, nearly dies, but they get the root on a Canyon here. Definitely a nice amount of chip damage, but Miasma already used. As we're setting up for this Infernal Drake in 5 seconds, trying to get position here in the Banana Brush. As another root's going to come down. They're doing a good job of keeping Gen.G at bay, but Gen.G now set up on another objective. Getting this one pretty low. The snipes are coming in on a Duro, though, as the last shot might just be shot into Canyon, but it's going to go the way of Canyon. He's super low. He goes down. Perfect keeping Keen at bay. And look at the rest of Gen.G. They're melting like butter on the right side with a hot knife going right through it on the side of KT. As Keen, yeah, he's going to get the 1v1. But now KT, they look for Baron.
And you know, Perfect, he did his job. He kept Keen occupied, right? And it's not a thankful job, but...
Okay, we're just flashing on Keen here. Might be able to get it. That pillar is not the best, but it's still going to be a kill. Cuz gets the shutdown. The hero of KT is back.
And you see the difference in this fight when the Gwen isn't there. Gen.G just don't have the gas in the tank. They don't have that threat on the back line. KT push forwards, able just to dive onto the rest of Gen.G. Duro gets chunked out massively. Docdam just landing these shots here. Hits 2. Look how much damage this is doing, by the way. Chovy has to move in and block them. And then Canyon tries to zone Cuz away. Does end up getting the smite, but Canyon just gets shredded immediately. And then this ult comes out with the pillar, with the miasma, and it doesn't stun, but they're all slowed and they get melted. This short range comp struggling. And in the meantime, yes, Keen wins the 1v1, but he's not there for the fight. And then Cuz just says, you know what? I wanted Baron, but I'll take the Gwen.
Sure. Why not? And, you know, all the cinders come flying out. Cuz is 3,500 gold ahead of Canyon. And the jungle gap in these 2 games has been disgusting.
We so often see Trundles deciding, do they want Triforce? Oh.
Okay, BDD just having a bit of fun. Face checking the brush against 4. Down he will go.
Okay, not optimal. As I was saying, we so often see Trundles deciding, do I want Triforce or do I want Sundered Sky? Because it's like, I'm taking both, you know? I am the carry. I'm making Trundle really work in this one.
I mean, everybody has to run into the Trundle.
Yeah.
So if he is in range and actually does damage, we've got another threat here on the side of KT. It's like 4 threats.
Yeah.
If you're this far ahead.
I mean, Gen.G just, they have to run into KT. And, you know, I talked about the concerns with the early game of the Cassiopeia into things like the Braum, Lucian, Xin Zhao, very threatening. We're well past that. BDD is such a problem. That miasma comes down, and it just shuts down Gen.G. They are trying to do the C target, kill target strategy, though. And KT are trying to avoid that.
Yeah.
It's Baron for KT, and yet Gen.G picking up an inner top. So a little concerning.
Yep, it's the Rebel Baron power play. Negative gold at this point in time.
Not ideal. And remember, even though that last fight was won handily by KT, it's 3 Infernal Dragons to Gen.G.
Yeah.
1 away from that Infernal Soul, so they're not out of the woods yet.
Not out of the woods. I mean, KT have their share of the objectives with the Otacon coming through, the extra petals at 31. And yeah, they got a couple of individual Drakes.
It's also pretty phenomenal for Jin, getting the extra adaptive force from the Otacon. I mean, you'd love to also have Infernal Dragons too, just because you scale your with adaptive force, your AD scales to such absurd numbers with all the modifiers from the passive. But doesn't have the IE yet. A minute 30, he just picked up the BF sword. I don't think he's going to have the IE in time for that dragon fight, which is pretty unfortunate, because that is an item you'd love to have.
He actually is already doing such insane damage. Like, we saw his ult, we saw the damage when he's just not under any threat in that fight the last time around. Cuz in a weird spot here, he's going to get slowed down by that. He's going to have to go for the subjugate as a massive Roborb comes in straight onto BDD. He says, I'll take the fight, I can't go anywhere. As now Redemption's coming in, they're going to Axis right at the heart of Gen.G. Canyon is so low, and so is Duro. This is 4v4 for the moment, but now Ruler comes in, and it's going to be Gen.G's fight. They're going to take down Perfect. That's a second kill to Gen.G.
And they opt into the fight, a member down. This means Soul for Gen.G. Oh, BDD gets caught out again, cuz a little bit out of position gets put. Doctor,
okay, just...
okay. Wait, double TP coming in. They're looking for more. KT, you guys need to be careful.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Keen is behind them. And at this moment, they just do not know. They're going to see it now. But now we got a TP that's coming in up top.
They should just kill the Braum, honestly, but it's going to be hard.
I don't know if they can. I mean, Subjugation does come out, but Keen flashing on in. A very awkward fight here, as it is going to be the kill on the Duck Dom, the kill on the Cuz, as Chovy just going to solo down the Dragon. Everything falls apart in the span of a couple of minutes.
Yep, and that's Soul now for Gen.G. Gold lead back in their favor, and just when things started to feel like KT was looking at a 2-0, a couple of mistakes, and Gen.G are back in control here. Cuz overextended it, and that level 16 slow on the Gwen ult is the one that didn't get nerfed. BDD gets exploded here. And Gen.G have really lent into their C-target, kill-target strategy with this composition. Canyon nearly going down. If he dies, it's a different story, because without a jungler, that Dragon's a surefire thing. But Perfect ends up going down as well. And then here, the Braum flank. And you know, you're right, there's not time to kill him, but I just don't think they had another option.
Yeah.
They just die.
There's nowhere to go. I mean, they were corralled by Keen up the river.
I just feel like they were pushing mid. I think the thought process was, hey, if we push mid, they can't, like, take structures, but they went... I just don't think they were gonna. I think their play was always get Soul.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Infernal Soul for Gen.G. I mean, they were already doing so much damage when they connected on the targets. And, you know, Lockdown still doesn't have that Infinity Edge. Ruler's now 4 items plus a QSS.
Yeah.
With Infernal... 4 Infernal Dragon Infernal Soul.
Everybody chunks. I mean, even Duro does damage. It's going to be quite the damage fest here.
Yeah.
And Gen.G, if they see anyone, could be Trundle, could be... I mean, everybody else is less tanky, so... Even if it is Cuz, you just kill him. It's fine. They have the damage.
Yeah. I mean, everyone just is going to be so burstable, you know, at this point. And their comp is good at that.
Look at Peter's angle here. This is so strange. I thought he was actually going to go for it.
For Lockdown, so a big spike there. KT trying to posture here.
Yeah. I mean, KT, they haven't had a couple of fights that were real, right? I mean, there is still a chance. It's not like it's over. It's just going to be very difficult. The poke is coming in from the Jin, and Gen.G, they have to be careful about getting poked out before the fight begins, because that's where all your power is when that fight begins, when you can dogpile onto one target. But they're just keeping him at range. They're looking for Peter. This is a Rakan, so not going to be an easy target there. as now the Realm Warp, just a little fake engage, maybe for vision. Not going to do all too much.
Yeah, just threaten them, force them back. Both teams trying to contest these mid waves. Oh, it's so spooky.
I mean, they're in the bush. They gotta be there, is cause he's gonna get stunned down and he's dead. And that's exactly what we were talking about. VDD just pops like a balloon, and the damage is just way too much. Gen.G, they just wait perfectly as the perfect execution comes in from perfect, actually, and it doesn't matter. 3 kills, or rather 4 kills, will go over to Gen.G, and they will look to end this game 38 minutes in.
An answer back from Gen.G. Definitely not clean game. Oh, okay. Good dead.
Yeah, Braum pretty good. He's getting some shots in. Okay, that's actually pretty close. Doesn't matter. This game is over, and Gen.G will force the series to be on our hands. A couple of critical mistakes from KT in the late game, and Gen.G are there to capitalize and bring this to 1 against 1.
I think this is sometimes the games you often get from Gen.G, where, you know, they do fall behind early, and there's some mistakes that happen.